Rise for the singing of our national anthem. Please be seated. All right, Council, you have the agenda before you. Item 1.0 is additions to the agenda. Any additions? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Schuler, all in favor? That is carried. Item 3.0, corrections or amendments to the July 13th regular meeting of Council minutes. Any corrections or amendments? All right, take a motion to adopt those minutes. Councillor Bossert, all in favor? That is carried. Item 5.0 is Community Spotlight. From Eagle Point Blue Rapids Parks Council, we have Peter Lee. Please, yeah. And I understand you have a presentation? You got a slideshow?
Got a 16-slide slideshow.
Or a movie? Yeah, okay.
I'll just wait till I get set up. Thanks for allowing me to be here today. It's a real pleasure. And I just work across the street 100 feet away. So it's easy to come over.
It's an easy commute, yeah.
So as Glenn said, just while we're waiting, my name is Peter Lee, and I'm Executive Director of the Eagle Point Blue Rapids Parks Council. And what we are a not-for-profit, community-based organization that co-manages, along with Alberta Parks, the 55-kilometer stretch of the North Saskatchewan River Valley up and downstream from Drayton Valley, the Eagle Point Provincial Park kind of north, and the Blue Rapids Provincial Recreation Area kind of south of Drayton Valley, Drayton being kind of right in the middle and actually adjacent to the Eagle Point Park, which is an incredible land asset base for Brazeau County residents and town of Drayton Valley residents. And it provides incredible, I would say, unrealized opportunities for outdoor recreation for residents of the town and the county, and for promotion of tourism as well. And you'll see a bit of that. Next slide, please, as we move along. I'm going to just highlight in this brief presentation to you this morning some of the very active files we're working on that I thought may interest you as councillors in the town. And I'm going to focus on these three key briefing items: tourism and outdoor recreation and what we're doing about that, because it's if you've been following the news lately, the economic news for Alberta and Canada, it's an incredible opportunity right now and just booming and expanding. And as I said a minute ago, I think we have a bit of an unrealized opportunity here with the park systems along the North Saskatchewan River Valley and other amenities in Drayton Valley and area. So I'm going to talk briefly about tourism, outdoor recreation, what we're doing about that in the Parks Council. Environmental education, because we got some really cool things happening there. And achieving some mutual goals. So just ended off with a bit of planting some seeds. Yeah, thanks. So we just had our Parks Day a couple weeks ago, and thank you to Fayrell and to Brandy for volunteering. We had a full cast of volunteers from the community, particularly from the recreation clubs, but also from county reps and town reps like Brandy and Fayrell, who flipped hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff like that. And the weather was superb. We had a great day. This is just 2.5 weeks ago. And next one, please. We had a full day. This is the cake that we had made here and shared with everybody at the community barbecue. And we also had free ATV riding, canoeing, archery, hiking, jet boating, community barbecue, and we had about 250 folks, which is actually exceeded our expectations a bit. So it was a nice turnout from the community and from local tourists who were staying at the Willie West Campground. So it was a great event. And again, Fayrell and Brandy, thanks so much. Next slide, please. So the first item I want to talk about under tourism and recreation is campgrounds. Now, as many of you may know, we did a major consulting contract for the Brazeau County last year and the year before to do their outdoor recreation master plan. And we did community surveys, both in the town of Drayton Valley and residents in Brazeau County, and the need and wish for more campgrounds was kind of paramount, as was the need and wish for more trails and walking opportunities, hiking opportunities. So we have been working our little butts off trying to find a location for a full RV service campground in the park system, the Eagle Point and Blue Rapids park system. And in addition, we've been working our little butts off trying to find a good location for a off-highway vehicle-friendly campground. It's the kind of campground, you know, you can actually drive your unit into and gently drive around the campground, not too late at night and that sort of thing. You see them elsewhere in the Eastern Slopes. And we're challenged by the fact of the floodplain and finding a site where people actually want to make a capital investment to build a campground that's flood-free, which is very challenging after the recent floods in the past decade and longer even. But we're working a full bore on that issue, and once we land on a site, we want to come back and brief you on that opportunity for the residents and for promoting tourism as well, because we see this as a bit of a gateway campground and park system for the Western Crown Lands and Eastern Slopes area as well. Drayton Valley is well positioned for that kind of gateway opportunity from Edmonton Marketplace. And the second kind of campground or day use issue, next slide please, is the end of Township Road 494, just northeast of Drayton Valley. You can see the green boundary of the Eagle Point Park and the town of Drayton Valley in the bottom left of the corner there. And we've been planning for, initially we wanted a campground down there, but we found that to get the county to improve the road down there, which is fairly steep, was just too costly. So we've scaled back our hopes and dreams and expectations and are now just promoting a day use area down in that area along the river. People want to get to the water, right, for their outdoor recreation, bring the kids down on a Sunday afternoon, or even to go camping or paddling or rafting or boating. And so so we've scaled it back so the road improvement down to the site doesn't have to be as costly. So we're not expecting to bring full RV trailers, fifth wheel trailers, for example, just lighter traffic, cars and trucks. And so we're planning that as well, and we're negotiating with the county right now to try to get that road improved so we can proceed with the day use developments. And we think this will be a really cool one because it's so close, you know, to the 7,500 residents of Drayton Valley and the surrounding residents in Brazeau County. Next slide, please. This is a really neat one because 3 weeks ago, we just got $350,000 grant approvals from the provincial and federal governments to both do wetland reclamation and, in addition to that, build ATV, family-friendly trail system, designated trail system on the east side of the river, just across the bridge from Drayton Valley. So again, this ATVing, as you all know, is a very popular activity in Drayton Valley amongst residents and surrounding county residents. And so we've been asked a lot to provide a family-friendly opportunity where you're not going to put your kids just on an ATV and push them off the cliff as you can in some of the western trails. This will be a less than 50% grade trail system. Now, as well as building that new trail system, we're going to be reclaiming and restoring a whole bunch of wetlands, which is was the attractant to the federal and provincial governments to help fund this project. So we've raised about $350,000 in cash so far, which is 95% of our goal. So we have $18,130 to go on our initial cash ask. But we've also raised, and actually this is the more interesting part in many ways, $375,000 in kind from local businesses already to help and assist with the construction, supplying equipment, reducing their manpower, professional fee charges, daily rates, and stuff like that. So the community from the industry side is really on board with this project. And so we're proceeding full bore. In fact, if all goes well, we may get the major construction done this fall and then finish it off next spring and summer. So you can see, I mean, that's an air photo, as you can tell. The green boundary is the Blue Rapids Park boundary. You can see the river on the north side, Drayton Valley. The yellow line is the new trail system. The purple lines are all the old trail systems that are going to be closed because the slopes are many of them are like cliffs, and you just, and they're eroding, they're in bad shape. So we plan on closing those and ending up with a family-friendly ATV area. Next slide, please. Thanks. We just put up our new website, and I want to thank Brandy in particular for helping us in advice on website content and design, particularly from the aspect of trying to attract tourists. So we hired a professional website designer. I'm just going to scroll you through the next 3 or 4 slides, our homepage on our new website, which we're really excited about because our old website was so boring. And we got so many comments about the most boring website you ever saw. So we decided to jazz it up with the focus on our website of promoting outdoor recreation among local residents and attracting tourists, particularly from the Edmonton market. So for example, that's why you get these catchy little, your backyard is bigger than you think. Yeah, oh yeah, cool. The whole North Saskatchewan River Valley is my backyard now. And then at the bottom of the first screen on the front page, we're promoting the local hotels and the hotel members of the Drayton Valley Hotel and Tourism Association. And they made a major cash contribution to the building of our new website. So they're to be thanked a lot too. Next slide, please. As you scroll down our homepage, you get right into trying to promote the adventure. People love maps and yada yada, and where you can hike and what the different things to see are in terms of vegetation and species. Next slide, please. Scrolling down further on the homepage, you can click on each of our 12 major outdoor activities, ranging from archery to biking, camping, hiking, so on and so forth. You can click on whether you want summer activities or winter activities, and you click on those sites and you get more detail. You get maps, where to access the sites, what to do, safety concerns, particularly with ATVing and paddling on the river, boating on the river, and so on. So tons of information. Next slide, please. And again, at the bottom of our homepage, we highlight our partner clubs. These are the members of our board, so the Brazeau ATV Club, the Drayton Valley Horse Club, the Paddling Club, the Adjacent Landowner Association, the West Central Jet Boat Association, and so on. And in addition to these important members of our board, of course, we have local government representation through Fayrell, and Brandy's the alternate from the town, and similarly with county representatives. We also have on our board representatives from the forest industry, the sand and gravel industry, and the oil and gas industry. So it's a well-rounded board. And at the bottom of our homepage, we recognize there's 20 or so sponsors who have given us major donations over the past, 3 or 4 years, and many of them continuing to do so. And at the very bottom, we sell advertising space. So to try to pay for the communications and website and so on. So that was an important new thing that we just did a few weeks ago. Next slide. I want to talk about the next briefing item of the 3 is environmental education. This is exciting. This came up first as the most exciting thing last fall to me. Many of you might know Dean Gray and Earth and Iron Company. And he's very shy about going public or being interviewed for the local newspaper even and so on. But I've got to say, I think from what he told me in respect and love of his recent tragedies with his children, he decided to both donate cash to us for environmental education programming and is building an outdoor education facility on his property for us, which is going to consist of parking area, toilets, I kind of call it a gazebo, but it's more grandiose than that. It's big, but it's open air and roofed, and it's basically a gathering place for school kids and whatnot, and the teachers, and parking for buses. And then he's got an incredible trail system through wetlands along the shore of the North Saskatchewan River Valley. He's doing this all at his own cost. And by the way, if you didn't know, his property is right adjacent to your water intake for the town. Yeah, all of you are nodding, you know that. And these are just air photos showing kind of where the stuff is. Anyways, what a great guy to work with. He's incredible. And if you ever get a chance to talk to him soon, ask him about his gold mining business in the Yukon. I've never seen a businessman like this guy in my life. It's an incredible story. Next slide. In addition, the Pembina Nordic Ski Club, in partnership with the Rotary Club, the local Rotary Club, are building an outdoor education facility which also serves indoor environmental education needs on the property that the Pembina Nordic Ski Club leases from Alberta Parks within Eagle Point Provincial Park. So this is a picture of the building. It's a two-story, and I wanted to show you the plans for the inside and the rooms, but it's like too much information. But you get an idea of how attractive and utilitarian this facility is going to be for outdoor education. There's a huge demand for it. We just got our stats from our Mandy Wilson, our main educator that we contract, and she's put through 1,500 school children in the last 5 months in our existing program. So there's a huge demand for it, again, unrealized. And so we're focusing on environmental education as one of the primary services we're providing to the community. Next slide. Capital budget for that project is $420,000. The Rotary Club has already committed to $120,000. We already have in-kind corporate donations secured for $100,000. We're negotiating with the county for $100,000. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. And we're applying for Government of Alberta grants for the remaining $100,000. So that's where we're trying to get the money. Next slide. Our operating budget is estimated for utilities at $20,000 to $25,000 per year. And if there's an opportunity, we may ask the town of Drayton Valley for a grant, maybe a multi-year grant, but we're not quite at that stage yet. But I figured I'd just plant the seed today that you might get an ask for us if you want to partner with us on this really cool project. Most of our school kids actually come from the town of Drayton Valley that we put through this program, probably 2/3, probably over 1,000 kids per half year, so up to 2,000 per year. Next slide. And this is the last slide. Achieving mutual goals was the last of the 3 briefing items I wanted to talk about today. So at some point, we will be coming to the town and asking if you want to partner with us on some of the tourism, outdoor recreation, and environmental education facilities. We're $18,000 short of the $350,000-$60,000 we're after for the ATV-friendly and wetland reclamation enhancement area on the east side. And we're trying to pin down this campground and day use issues. We're negotiating with the county. At some point, maybe we'll come to the town with an ask. We don't know yet, but just to let you know. And environmental education programming, we pay for staff, so that's an ongoing cost for us, and we're a not-for-profit organization. And the utilities costs for the center, maybe something we'll come back to you with an ask for at some point. In addition, the other seeds I wanted to plant were, these ones are easy, the letters of support for further fundraising. One reason we got the grants from the federal and provincial government is because of the letters of support from the town, that Glenside. So I thank you very much for those. They were very helpful in securing, at a political level, securing, the funding. So thank you. And I'm sure we'll be asking for more letters. and just plant the seed about coordination on communications outreach. We're all busy at the staff level. I know how busy Annette is. I know how busy I am. This is a part-time job for me, not a full-time job. Same with Bev Brooks, our maid admin person, who many of you know. It's just part-time jobs for us. So we're all extremely busy. It is difficult, challenging to coordinate. But this tourism opportunity can't pass us by here in Drayton Valley or Brazeau County. And we need to, in my humble opinion, do a little bit of a better job at coordinating our communications and outreach to attract tours and to let residents know what amazing outdoor recreation opportunities we have here in the park system and in the whole area. That's it. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here today.
Well, thank you very much, Peter. You've got a number of very exciting and substantial projects underway, and you've come some distance on each one of them, so my compliments. And yes, I heard the other part, but about an ask of some kind. So we'll
We're going to get you out tenting one day, yeah.
I am.
Even though I
No doubt you will.
hate the thought of sleeping on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's in the water that's the bigger problem for me. But anyway, any questions from council? Councillor Bossert?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, Peter. Thank you for coming in. What an interesting presentation. It's really nice to get the update of what's going on in the parks, because it does surround us more or less, and we don't necessarily see what's in our own backyards, so thank you. With all the work that's going on in EPBR, what would you say is the area of greatest potential for tourism development for the park area? It's an initiative we're all working on, is tourism, so I just wanted to get your take on it.
The greatest area in the whole Brazeau, Drayton Valley region for tourism potential is the North Saskatchewan River Valley. Stuff that is in your backyard, you do tend to take for granted. It's just human nature. But I came to this job, part-time job, 2 years ago from Edmonton. I live near, actually, the North Saskatchewan River Valley in Edmonton, and I walk my dog there like every single day. And I canoe kayak once a week on Sunday afternoons in Edmonton on the river. So I know what an attractant the River Valley is to lots and lots of people. And what you have here in Drayton Valley is a very gorgeous stretch, 55-kilometer stretch of the North Saskatchewan River Valley. And like I said earlier, if you look at it from a regional perspective, its proximity to Edmonton, just an hour and a half away, its proximity to the incredible green zone, right, Crownland Green Zone, Eastern Slopes. I mean, you know, it's 25 or whatever miles off the Yellowhead Highway, which is a bit of an impediment, not much though, and they're turning away campers from the national parks. They can't accommodate the demand. And here we are on our way to Jasper and the national parks from the Edmonton area. you know, the Willie West campground is a little jewel. That's what many campers are actually telling Scott Robertson, the campground operator, because he and his wife Sherry run it so well. But it's tiny. It's only got 90 sites. Only 50 of them are serviced, and you know, we need a campground. A full RV service campground, but it ain't cheap. We're talking several millions of dollars to build a full service campground. It's expensive, and it's going to require financial partnerships and people willing to invest, whether from government levels or, you know, from the private sector. But it's a need that residents recognize they want as one of the highest things in all the surveys that we did, and it clearly stands out as a tourism attractant, the campground issue. Then we put it together with the natural surroundings of the river valley. That's the single most impressive and biggest attractant for tourism for sure. And then there's all kinds of other little amenities. I mean, the Pembina River is a jewel, right? I mean, it's just gorgeous. And we know that lots of people come out to the provincial park, the Pembina Provincial Park, and raft and canoe and paddle and stuff like that and camp. And we have a gorgeous stretch of the Pembina River just, you know, northwest of Drayton as well. So, you know, there's tons of ancillary amenities for tourism and outdoor rec.
Thank you. Anything further? Councillor Frederickson.
I just want to say thanks for coming in. It was an excellent presentation. The nugget that's resonating with me is your very last comment with regards to pulling together the efforts of whether we're looking at towns tourism initiatives, Brazeau County's initiatives, Drayton Valley Hospitality and Tourism Authority, even the little clubs that we have that are sitting on the board. Each club that sit on this board, they have taken on the responsibility of a lot of the trail systems that they cover or events that they're bringing in. But finding that hub or creating that hub where you're pulling that in, and then you can direct tourists to, hey, you're in town for this, have you checked out that? So you're able to kind of get a cross-section or allow people to really enjoy everything that's available, whether it's arts and culture in the town as well as the recreation out of town. I think that that's something that doesn't come with a huge price tag. It just comes with time, I guess, a lot of effort and time. So I'm glad that you're bringing that up, and I think the EPBR website is a very great start just to highlight exactly where things are, how to get there, that kind of stuff.
Well, that's, if I can just comment on that, that's an important digital hub, the website for sure, that we can build from and coordinate with the town and with the county. We also need a physical hub. A campground can serve as that if it's properly located to be convenient for people who are coming to the area. But that physical hub is something that I'm challenged with to try to locate and construct. So you have the sign on the road, go here for information, or here to do something. There may be a trail system or whatever. The 55-kilometer stretch is long and skinny, right? And there's lots of access areas, and picking one that's convenient, that's going to be relatively cheap, and you know, all the other hurdles you go through is challenging, but it's something I need to focus on as well, the physical hub and the digital hub.
Thanks very much. Anything further? All right. Thank you so much, Peter, for your presentation. Excellent opportunity to take advantage of the community spotlight segment of the agenda, so we appreciate it. Thanks. All right, item 6.0 delegations. 6.1, Christy Kirby had presentation or comments associated with automated traffic enforcement. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, my name is Christy Kirby. I'm here to voice my concerns about the current photo radar epidemic sweeping through Drayton Valley. As a parent of 3 school-aged children, I'd like to thank the council for trying to make our school zones safer area by introducing photo radar. I applaud this, but I have some questions and concerns that I hope can be answered today, either via correspondence or today if we can. Number one, were there any stipulations or terms that were set out before the radar could be used, and have they been implemented? Number two, the minutes in the meetings where the election of the traffic committee were documented. The names of the members and dates of previous or future meetings. I've looked through the minutes on the website and I haven't been able to find any, so I'm just not sure if I'm looking in the right place or not. Number three, the statistics of the number of accidents before photo radar around the schools and after it's been implemented. Number four, a full review of the monies from photo radar and what areas it's going to be used in the community, and what percentage does the town get from each ticket and how much is owed in lieu of. Number five, how many cars are used on a daily basis, or how many are allowed to be used on a daily basis? And are the underhanded tactics of hiding in bushes and the fake camera utility boxes, is that something that's allowed? Also, the initial agreement that we saw was that 100% of the photo radar money would be held in reserves and allocated to enhancing safe and healthy community. I've noted that this was changed in April of 2016 to 50%. It just seems to be a very drastic cut, and I was wondering if there was any public consultation regarding this. Number 7 I have was rolling stops. So we noticed that now we've got the stop sign people there. A lot of times you see that the painted lines seem to be in the wrong area, making it unsafe to proceed. So you'll get there and you're not even at a full stop. You need to come more forward. Are they catching people for that as well? Because there's no visibility of where you need to actually be stopped behind the line. So maybe the town can get a health and safety inspection done on this. Also, I'd like to inform the council that there's people that are talking about staying away from local businesses and causing local businesses a loss of money due to the aggressive photo radar policy. And just a side note, my family owns a business in town, and the photo radar is often in their privately owned parking lot, and they feel like they have no say in that. So for other businesses, what is the recommended form of complaint, or what can they do to make sure that they don't use their property, as people are now talking about boycotting businesses that are allowing it even though they don't allow them in there. Sporting events are talking about moving locations due to receiving numerous tickets when they attend events. And Drayton Valley, unfortunately, is gaining the reputation of becoming the cash grab photo radar capital of Alberta on all forms of social media, including Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Right now, we're a town that's in crisis of layoffs, and if you haven't been laid off, your wage has certainly gone down, your hours have been cut, and so the photo radar is certainly not helping ease the burden of that. So I love this town, and that's why I'm here today, to voice my concerns, get some constructive feedback.
Thank you very much, Christy. First of all, I want to say that I appreciate you coming to council as and you've completed the delegation request form and made your presentation very forcefully and succinctly. We thank you for that. This is the sort of input in the particular forum where it's appropriate to express those concerns. There's plenty going on social media, but there is nothing takes the place of a personal presentation such as your own. You've outlined a number of very important questions, and I don't write that fast. Our executive assistant may have captured that, but what I would ask is, would you mind encapsulating that in an email? You can send it to my attention or to read it directly. And we will ensure that those answers are provided. We will also, with your permission, post those on our website.
That would be fantastic.
Our responses, yeah.
Sure, that would be
Happy
great.
to do that.
Great. Well,
All right.
thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Oh, sorry, maybe a couple of quick questions from council. Councillor Frederickson.
Hi. I again, with the mayor, I actually wrote that down, appreciate you coming in, as opposed to hearing it third party through something else. When you initially started your presentation, you had mentioned about being thankful that safer school zones, et cetera. Council has heard through email or through social media people who have had issues with the automated traffic enforcement. I'm wondering, have you, but I mean, personally, I have talked to people who are also in favor of it, and I'm just wondering, in your circle of influence, have you talked to people who share some of the same sentiments, where perhaps what am I trying to say here? They are in favor of the improved safety that comes with automated traffic enforcement, but do have concerns regarding how it is enforced.
Yeah, for sure. And I can give you an example. The second last day of school, I went to drop off my kids. I took the route to go. We were late, so we stopped by Tim Hortons to grab stuff on the way. I passed one at ACR. Then I went and dropped my kids off at HW. Then I dropped my other daughter off at St. Anthony's. There was one at St. Anthony's. Then I drove further in Serenity Homes. There was one there. And then by Trican. That's 4 in a span of 10 minutes in a town so small. And what people are saying to me and what I'm getting is that they're really more concerned now with, am I 2 kilometers over? And I've only actually ever gotten one ticket. It was when it first started in the Omniplex. I actually didn't realize that it was 30 all the way through there. So that's fine. And I haven't gotten any more. But I noticed that I'm really distracted while I'm driving. I'm so distracted by watching my speedometer. Is my speedometer off? Are my tires worn? There's those concerns, and that's what most people have. I mean, I don't think you're having the concerns of people that want to go flying through school zones at 50. And I mean, if I'm stopped by a police officer, rather than getting a ticket a month later, I think that certainly for me, I'd be more stressed out about that. But I also know that when he's stopping me, that he has, it's not just you were 3 kilometers over, he has a reference. You know, you're dealing with a person. It seems to be a better way. And I do know that in the school zones was certainly an issue. My kids went to DCS at the time, and people would go flying through there. It was really not good. But when they would have the little rolling cameras that would come through with the flashing speed, that seemed to really help as well. And so when we have them sitting at the stop sign at Tim Hortons when you come out, that's at the end of a dead, you know, that's a dead-end service road. It's a stop sign coming out of Tim Hortons, turning left, which probably should really be a yield. I mean, who are you stopping for? There's no traffic. I mean, that certainly, they're there for a cash grab. They're not there for anything else. And I'm not sure how they're paid. People have talked about, are they paid by commission? Like, are they commission-based? A lot of people think they are. Is that true? Who knows, right? Everyone has an opinion on that. So there are people that are thankful for it, and but are concerned just the lack of concentration they have now on their driving, because they're so worried about, am I going to get a ticket? I don't have money to pay a $400 rolling through a stop sign, that sort of thing. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Nadeau, you had a question?
I just wanted to say thank you. I thought it was a really good presentation. And I don't know if you live in town or not, but there's an election coming up in 2017. And I think really you should put your name forward. You're very eloquent up here, and you've got a good head on your shoulders. And I really appreciate all the research you did coming through, and I think you should consider it.
Thank you.
It's one foot.
This isn't intended to be a recruitment meeting, but that is available. Anything further? All right. Thank you very much, Christy. So again, just to be clear, with your permission, we will post answers to all of those questions on our website.
I think that'll be helpful. Thank you so much for your
All
time.
right. Thank you. All right. Item 7.0, 7.1, Councillor Wheeler, under the decision items, community events grant third quarter allocation.
Thank you. The Town of Drayton Valley recognizes that there are not-for-profit organizations that host community events to raise funds or that require donations for worthwhile projects, programs, or services. In an effort to support these organizations and their efforts, the town may provide supporting grants to assist with the hosting of community events and initiatives. Funding applications are to be reviewed on a quarterly basis. The third quarter deadline was July 1st, 2016, and $5,000 is available for distribution. 2 eligible applications were received, reflecting a variety of community organizations that are contributing to improving the quality of life of our residents. The 5th annual DV 100 race is an event following in the Social Development Plan strategy. Drayton Valley and Brazeau County support a community that enhances all dimensions of wellness. The 3rd annual Alberta Culture Days in Drayton Valley is a weekend event reflecting the Social Development Plan goal. Drayton Valley is inclusive to all cultural and heritage and celebrates this diversity. Therefore, I move that Council award the Drayton Valley Community Foundation's 5th Annual DV 100 to be held on September 10, 2016, a total of $1,000 from the Community Event Grant to support local initiatives.
Thank you for the motion. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor? That is carried. Councillor Wheeler?
Thank you. I move that Council award the Eleanor Pickup Arts Centre 3rd Annual Alberta Culture Days in Drayton Valley to be held on October 1st and 2nd, 2016, a total of $4,000 to allow organizers to follow the provincial mandate to run the event free of charge to community members.
Thank you. Any discussion on this motion? All right, all in favor? That is carried. Item 7.2, Councillor Bossert, Town of Drayton Valley Waste Management Policy Considerations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Town of Drayton Valley Waste Management Committee has reviewed the town's current waste management practices and given consideration to questions which would help to drive administration policy direction forward. Current practices follow policy directions set out by Bylaw 2009-01E. Recently adopted documents such as the Community Sustainability Plan and the Economic Development Plan have defined goals, strategies, and milestones that pertain to waste reduction and diversion. Documents accepted for information such as the Integrated Waste Management Strategy and the Residential Waste Sort have provided additional information when reviewing policy elements in the area of waste diversion, municipal services, and sustainability objectives. At present, our waste management operations may not be as aligned as desired with the broader sustainability direction that Council and the town has established. Current practices and the longer-term budgetary implications of landfill life cycle need to be re-examined in order to maximize life cycle and contain costs. The Waste Management Committee, The Waste Management Committee is proposing consideration of policy direction impacting management and diversion practices to align actions and maximize our existing assets. It is the committee's view that these recommendations and corresponding actions that will follow will advance the municipality in ways that both environmentally sustainable and financially viable. The Waste Management Committee policy driver questions and recommendations are included for Council's review. Should the recommendations be accepted, the Waste Management Committee and administration will undertake the necessary analysis and actions in advancing and updating policy directives. We have three options for the motion. I therefore move that Council accept the recommendations of the Waste Management Committee as outlined in the policy questions.
All right, are we clear on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? Councillor Wheeler?
Thank you. I just have a clarification question for the, probably the committee, I would assume. On question number 3, it says, is the scope of waste collection appropriate, and does the committee wish to explore changes? And the committee's answer was that the recommendations are to explore a scope change that would include commercial and industrial waste and recycling collection. I'm wondering if you're also looking at household.
You want to answer that, Councillor Frederickson?
Yeah. Currently, the scope of our recycling and waste collection doesn't include commercial industrial waste. They deal with it on their own. So what we would be looking at would be looking to broaden that so that we are incorporating them into the recycling collection, as well as, because right now they privately pay for it. So looking at incorporating that into our current collections, and the reason being is that what the discussion was is that essentially if we're looking to have any sort of impact whatsoever in terms of sustainability and landfill life cycle, it would be ridiculous of us to ignore the huge impact that commercial industrial waste has on our current landfill. To answer your question about household is, yes, we are looking at different avenues of household as well in terms of our landfill contract, or our waste pickup contracts, and frequency of what's being picked up, increasing frequency of recycling versus waste or what have you. Nothing is set, but those things have been what we've kind of discussed. So does that answer what you're asking? Okay.
Sonia, did you have anything you wanted to add to that? Okay. All right. Anything further? Councillor Schuler.
Yeah, I'm just, not a question, just a comment that I'm really glad to see this come forward. I think our committee has been, I think, a little lost over the last little bit due to some of the projects that were being looked at, and I think this is a very good move forward, and will be very good for the town.
Puts a policy imperative behind the operations of the facility and makes it so much more clear to all involved. Councillor Bossert.
Thank you. I just believe that if we move forward with the recommended approach, it really does help align our practices with the mindset of sustainability in our community. I think most of council now has taken a number of sustainability courses, and we're learning that it's not just about making sure that there's water or some of the essential services. It's about leaving our environment in a better condition than for our future generations. And it's a mindset of being good stewards of our community. And I think some of the policy changes that may be moved forward would help align us even more with our sustainability plan. So I'm totally in favor with the recommendations.
Okay, anything further? All right, all in favor? That's carried. And item 7.3, Councillor Frederickson, subdivision application.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Subdivision application slide 16/01. Background, administration has received a subdivision application regarding an application for a commercial subdivision for the lands located within Southwest 1749-7 west of the 5th. West Central Planning Agency received an application to subdivide 3.88 acre lot from the remainder of the quarter section within Southwest 1749-7 west of the 5th. The property is currently zoned as C2, which is General Commercial District. Site visit. West Central Planning Agency conducted a site visit on June 28, 2016. These lands are vacant except for a small metal building located on it. Comments. The existing power center area structure plan, bylaw number 2004-14-D, does not discuss the future expansion of 61st Street North and connect to 52nd Avenue or Power Center Boulevard. Even though it does not discuss the expansion of 61st Street, West Central Planning Agency recommends further discussion of this option between the town and the applicant, as this would serve as another alternative access to the Power Center Boulevard unless the town's future plan is to close off 61st Street completely at this location. No other comments or concerns have been received from other agencies or utilities or adjacent landowners. Alberta Transportation has no objection with their letter, April 27th, 2016, and authorizes the subdivision authority to grant a variance to the proposed subdivision. Reserves. Reserves are owed, and it was deferred on the property by Caveat in 2008. It is recommended that Caveat stays with the remainder and not on the proposed lot. The proposed subdivision complies with land use bylaw, Power Center Area Structure Plan, as well as the Municipal Development Plan. West Central Planning Agency recommends approval subject to the list of conditions on the draft approval. The recommendations are listed. There are 7 recommendations that are noted in the agenda package. So therefore, I move that council approves the subdivision application DV-16-01, subject to the conditions noted above.
Thank you, Councillor Frederickson. So the motion is to approve the application for subdivision, subject to the enclosed conditions. Shahid? First, did council have any questions of Shahid? Okay, I do. Councillor Wheeler? No, go ahead.
I was just curious on the 61st Street, what our town's viewpoint is and how does that actually work? Like with their property line being over the road, do they create part of the road and we create part of the road?
Their property line is over the road and is basically a road allowance. And we can still negotiate or we can talk to landowner at the time of development permit application with the conditions.
My question, a little more to the point on this, on 61st Street, has administration determined whether or not 61st Street is desirable and or necessary?
I believe we need discussion and for that, and as West Central Agency mentioned that they recommend that we can discuss with the landowner.
Okay.
So with the administration, we didn't discuss so far.
Okay.
And what I got comments that we can still discuss the landowner at the time of development permit applications.
You can certainly discuss it, but that doesn't mean that you'll get agreement.
Yeah, so that be at the time of when we will have a development permit application, so we'll have an agreement at that time. So whether we have to close or we have to connect that with the other road.
What you're saying is that it could be a condition of any
Condition
future
and
development
part of
permit.
development agreement at that time.
Well, how could it be part of the development agreement when the development agreement is being determined now? What these conditions indicate is that the development agreement is to be prepared now or forthwith, but the development permit may not be applied for quite some time.
Yes, but as West Central Agency, they mentioned that definitely we need to talk to landowner, but there's a discussion what we have with the planning and development officer. So she mentioned that we can have that at the development agreement time. So if council suggests, we can talk to applicant at this stage, or we leave it at the time of development agreement.
Well, I think administration needs to determine and make a recommendation first whether or not 61st Street is desirable or necessary. And beyond that, if, as you suggested a moment ago, if it's determined desirable and necessary, then if it is a condition of any future development permit, that may be one way to proceed. But I just, my concern was why isn't it being addressed in the discussion of the development agreement, which the subdivision application.
So that was a suggestion I got from development officer, and right now if you see 61st is not totally close.
Mm-hmm.
The property is over that road, but the thing is not totally closed. So if council is still suggesting, and then we can talk to applicant and we need more discussion on it.
Well, again, council's not suggesting anything yet,
Yeah.
because we'll take our recommendation from administration.
So I will discuss with the administration and then I will get back to you.
Okay. All right, a little bit of a segue there. Anything further for Shahid? All right, so we have the motion before us.
Oh, sorry. Would you be looking for a tabling motion on this?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Mr. Diven, did you have any comment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's a motion before council at present, so if council is not comfortable with proceeding at this point in time, the motion on the floor would have to be dealt with at that point in time. Then the floor would be open for a different motion that could include a tabling motion or could include any other direction that council wishes to see.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we have the motion before us. Is there any further discussion on the motion? All right. All in favor? Opposed? That motion is defeated. Councillor Frederickson, did you have a further motion you wish to make?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Oops, sorry. I move that, sorry, I lost my page. There we are. I move that council table the subdivision application DV/16/01 to a future council meeting.
All right, do we need a return date on that?
You do not need a return date. That's council's prerogative.
Okay. All right. We have a tabling motion. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. So the motion has been to table it. So pending further examination by administration on the 61st Street question and the desirability or necessity thereof, we can revisit the issue. And obviously, we want to do so in as timely a manner as possible so that development, if any, is intended, is not impeded unduly. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 7.4, Councillor Nadeau.
Thank you, Mayor.
And Eric Burton on deck.
The Economic Development Manager has developed a community profile as well as an economic development strategy. The profile highlights key information to support economic and business developments in Drayton Valley. While the strategy guides the town's economic development efforts, both the documents were created with extensive input with the Economic Development Committee and administration. The request is for the approval of both the Drayton Valley Community Profile and the Powered by Entrepreneurs Drayton Valley Economic Development Strategy 2016 to 2018. Copy of both documents are included for council's review and consideration. Therefore, I make a motion that council approve the Drayton Valley Community Profile.
Sorry, I'm just catching up in my package here. Thank you for the motion. Any discussion on this motion? Councillor Frederickson?
I just have a couple of not necessarily discussion on the content, but just on presentation of this. So page 1 of the package, 1, 2, 3, fourth paragraph down, there just appears to be a spacing issue with new and investors. Just if you want to make a note of that. I just had page 4 of the package, under access to international markets, there just seems to be a spacing issue as well between that entrepreneur networks and that other paragraph. And page 8, again, just a spacing issue. It looks, I'm not sure if that was intended or not, of the municipal development plan, between the sentence above it and the municipal development plan. And then on page 11, the mayor's name is, there's just an N missing on, a second N missing on his name. So just a couple little snafus.
Right, not amendments, but nice catch on the mayor's name. And Eric was afraid no one would read this. Thank you. Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you. On page 13, when it talks about the police services in the town, it says we have a municipal public safety officer. I'm just wondering if you can tell me what that is.
That's a good question. What we've tried to do is collect a lot of information from a lot of sources and try to pull it together into as a concise document as possible. And we've caught a lot of things that were a little bit on the edges or went sideways, and this may be one of them that we missed, so I apologize for that.
So, Mr. Diven?
The municipal public safety officer was the former title of the municipal bylaw officer, and that would have been pulled from a previous document and iteration, and so that was just not updated in this version, so we will update that appropriately for the final version.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Wheeler, you had?
Yes, I'm just looking for page, it was a question on page 79 of our package, sorry, because I wrote them down, there's just a glitch in the same with the spacing where R is on its own line, the actual word ARE, on page 79, which is 7.3, section 7.3. And then my question is, this package is wonderful. I love it. I think it's very succinct. It talks about I couldn't think of anything that was missing. I really, really liked it. But I was wondering about your timelines that you have or is it in the second package? That's this one, okay. The timelines, just in terms of, it talks about 2016, 2017, 2018, but because we're already halfway through 2016, do you still think that everything in there is kind of doable, or do you see the timeline shifting a bit?
Yeah, so as far as the timelines go, that's a really good question. And we have been beginning to action some of the key pieces, slowly and surely to engage the community, some of the things that are integral to economic development generally. There is some fluidity with the timelines because the strategy is built to be kind of like a rope, okay? Where a rope has many different strands, and it's all those strands working together that makes it a powerful tool. So in that case, these different actions all support one another. So in some cases, it's very important the order that they're in. And in other cases, there's flexibility. So we're working on an implementation plan, which is going to get right down to the very ground level and flesh out in detail what each step of each process looks like. So, but generally, I stand by the breakdown for each year of the 3 years, because that's going to help shape the flow of how things move forward. Now, we're also looking to build a lot of coalitions and rally partners, and that sometimes, in order to be truly collaborative, we need to also be open to new ideas or different perspectives on, for example, timing of things. So, but generally, I do stand by the schedule that we've put forward, and we've been getting ready to move forward on a number of the key pieces.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Frederickson. Was that it, Councillor? Okay, Councillor Frederickson.
My question kind of goes along with what you're saying here. So when I read this, and I read the second package, the key activities of the second package, it's clear for this to be a success, you're going to be pulling on a lot of internal departments, including planning and development, GIS, conference facility staff, front-end staff, Clean Energy Technology Center, and even if you're looking at education, you're looking at our Norquest partnerships as well. So in order for this to be successful, I see this as being something that departments aren't able to work in silos. They're going to have to be collaborative on this. You yourself are in a part-time position. I'm just wondering, how does administration foresee pulling this together, I guess? And I'm asking administration as a whole because I know you are economic development. However, this is really pulling on all aspects of administration.
Yeah, so what this seeks is to create convergence of all the departments around economic development. So what we do is we leverage our assets that we have as much as possible. So rather than focusing in on new directions, it's about leveraging what we already have and the resources that we have in place. So now, as far as part-time, I am in a full-time position. A lot of the work that goes into economic development is behind the scenes. And so it's a matter of building partnerships and having focus, and that what this strategy tries to do is lay out a guide that we can then facilitate conversations both internally and externally and build clear plans on how we move forward. So yes, it does require support broadly from the corporation, but in my view, it is not additional resources that it requires. It's more about thinking about things in a way that mesh together so that the things that are already being done are slightly tweaked with the strategy in mind so that in the course of the different departments doing their work, they're supporting economic development. So does that?
It does. I'm just going to refer, Mr. Dibben, how does that resonate with you?
Mr. Dibben?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor. I think as the Economic Development Manager has pointed out, and I'm sort of referring to the overall work plan, this is an ambitious plan, an ambitious schedule of events going forward. But we need to bring different lenses to different activities, and by undertaking this strategy and by putting out these goals and objectives, it helps, I think, the rest of the administration understand that we have to broaden our focus. And we need to broaden our objectives and perspectives as we take a look at what our book of activities are. And more importantly, I think what Council is trying to drive the community to, and that is a set of outcomes, rather than just activities and undertakings as we go along. And so with this formulary work that's being done and a tabling of expectation, if you will, if approved from Council and from longer term objectives for not just the town but the larger community in which we operate, I think that helps to reorient administration and its activities and realize that they're, each and every one of us and collectively have to take a look at our book of business and our work going forward. And so that will be important to understand that, to take a look then about through budgeting and task allocation exercises, what is expected of us, what we need to focus on, and then allow us to help prioritize and try and achieve outcomes in a multitude of different spheres as we go forward. So I take a look at this, I take a look at the work that's been done. We will be challenged in terms of going forward from a resource, both human and dollar capacity going forward to achieve everything that is in place in this strategy. But it's a matter then of looking at that, aligning our efforts. But I think, as Mr. Burton has pointed out as well, utilize this as the guide in looking at extracting leverage from other organizations, other entities, and other opportunities going forward. So from an administration perspective, I think we have much more discussion should the strategy and the profile be accepted in terms of bringing this to our discussions going forward and helping to have that be a different basis and foundation from proceeding. But this is a necessary first step in understanding then from the multitude of activities and expectations that Council has, how we need to align and build our business going forward.
Anything further? Okay, we have a motion before us. All in favor? That is carried. Councillor Nadeau.
Since we've had thorough conversation on the strategy, now I'll move that. Now I'll move that Council approve Powered by Entrepreneurs Drayton Valley Economic Development Strategy 2016 to 2018.
I hesitate to ask. Any question? Oh, really? Councillor Long.
Not a question, happily. I just want to salute Eric for the work that's gone into this. This is something Councillor Nadeau and myself have been on the committee for a couple of years, and it seemed to take a long time to get moving, but I'm very happy with where we've got to in the end. So thank you for this, Eric, and thank you to everybody for supporting it, which I hope you're going to.
Councillor Bossert.
I also want to echo Councillor Long's comments. This is an exciting document. Yes, there might be a few grammatical and formatting tweaks, but the content is exciting to me. Your focus on the entrepreneurial spirit of our community is a spark to me. It's our hidden gem that we can enhance and strengthen our community with that strong spirit that we have within our community. So I just wanted to say I'm looking forward to seeing some of these initiatives unfold over the coming months and years. As you know, I have an entrepreneurial daughter, and she's been receiving some of your mentorship. So I see that personally in my own family, and I'm looking forward to seeing that in its ripple effect in our community. So well done with this, and I look forward to it developing in the years to come.
Anything further? All right, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much, Eric. I echo the comments that have just been made. Great deal of work has gone into this, and I'd like to extend council's thanks to the committee as well. So, with that, we're going to take a 10-minute break before we go to department reports. And matter, I've asked Mr. Diven to look into procedurally how matters were dealt with on item 7.3, and the question in my mind, which I now have clarity on, is whether the tabling motion takes precedence over the main motion, and in fact it does, according to Robert's rules. Mr. Diven, did you want to speak to that further?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and apologies to council at the mayor's request. I just reviewed Robert's rules, and tabling motion is also a secondary motion that Robert's rules considers as a motion to and I want to get this correct here, but to defer and postpone indefinitely. And as a secondary motion, it takes precedence over a main motion that's on the table. So in order to dispatch the business, it was not required that council vote on the main motion to entertain a secondary motion. Ergo, council could have moved directly to the secondary motion to table. In essence, and based on bad advice, council did move to along those lines, and I would recommend that as a remedy, council could pass a motion to strike the vote on the main motion. It would have, if approved, it would have the effect of council just proceeding as it should have to consideration of the secondary motion. The matter would be tabled and therefore be eligible to be brought back to council at its decision and discretion at a point in time in the future.
All right. So all we need then to correct the proceedings is a motion to strike the vote on the main motion. The tabling motion still stands.
That would be correct.
Okay. All right. With that, thank you, Mr. Diven, for the clarity on that. Councillor Schuler, make a motion to strike the main motion that was voted on item 7.3.
Yes, I do, just in those words.
Okay. All right. Any discussion on that motion? All right. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And so the tabling motion stands, and we carry on to department reports. Item 8.1, engineering and development, planning and development. Shahid.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. There are two items to report today. Number one is planning and development half-year report from January to June 2016, and number two is a monthly report since our last council meeting, July 3rd. Due to economic downturn situation, we have a low number of development permit comparing to previous years. Since January to June 2016, Planning and Development has approved 36 development permit, and the value of all development permit is 4,916,597. This can be compared with the situation what we had in 2010 and 2011. Comparing to 2010 and 2011, there is a significant difference in number of development permit. However, the total value of development is only 30% lower till half of this year. If we compare value of commercial in your handouts, if we compare value of commercial development with 2011, in 2016, the value of commercial development is 45% higher than 2011. In 2011, there wasn't any investment in industrial development. However, we have 15,000 value of development this year so far. This year, basically the main difference in a residential development sector, comparing to 2010 to 2016, 2016 has approximately 50% difference in 2016. And with regard to new housing start, since January to June this year, there are total 2 new housing start. Number 1 is single family dwelling and number 2 is duplex. Further, in terms of number of business licenses, there's an interesting fact to see that we have almost 90% to 100% higher number than previous years. For example, if you compare in 2015, there was 52 number of business licenses. In 2010, there was 54. And in 2011, there was 65. However, we have 58 for just half of this year. So almost there's a 100% or 90% difference as compared to previous year. So we are in a very good shape in terms of business licenses in this year. So this was for a half-year report, and for the monthly report, Planning and Development has approved 4 development permit and 8 business licenses. Out of 4 development permit, 2 are installation of signage, and third one is for the deck, and 4th one is for remove and replace mobile home. And with regard to business licenses, out of 8 business licenses, 7 are new, and 8th one is for change of name. 2 business licenses are applied for local residents, and 6 applied by non-resident of Drayton Valley. So if you see in the list, the purpose of the business license is drilling and completion of fluid, sales pump parts oil field. Number 4th one is concrete contractor. Number 5th is personal training and group fitness. Number 6 is oil field operating. Number 7th is kitchen exhaust and hood cleaning. And number 8 is scaffold and shrink wrapping, commercial and industrial. So this is for the monthly report since our last council meeting. And further, I would like to share that following to Councillor Nicole conference report regarding creative community and presentation on the placemaking by Planning and Development. So Planning and Development is conducting a placemaking survey. The purpose of this survey is to get community feedback how to make the Drayton Valley more vibrant, attractive and livable. And so far we got more than expected input, and I appreciate for council, administration and community for their support and feedback. And I believe this survey is very helpful to understand community needs and wishes, and to make Drayton Valley more desirable place for live, work and play. And the last date of the survey is August 5th, and I am hoping to get more feedback before wrap up of this survey. But especially thanks to Tyler for his help. And the survey is available on our official website and Facebook. So that's all for report today.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions of Shahid? All right, thanks so much. Engineers report, Sonia Rigglesworth.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor and Council. So Public Works has been working diligently at keeping Drayton Valley clean, and in terms of street sweeping, the grass cutting, weed control, garbage collection, tree trimming, banner placements, and we've just finished the Communities in Bloom, so and that went very well, to my understanding. Work has commenced on Aurora School. The new curbing has been installed, and access has been prepped into the parking lot. And asphalt is expected to be placed by mid-August. The new electric gate is up at the water treatment plant. Looks fabulous if you've driven by. Yes, looks beautiful. Currently, engineering's working on preparing the first draft of the capital and operating budgets. And we have recently released 2 tenders. One is for Mackenzie Avenue pavement rehabilitation, and that was tendered on July 29th. Today, we're releasing for the Cooley Road, the north slope, to be rehabilitated. And 43rd Extension is continuing to be worked on, but there's quite a bit of difficulty with the soil conditions and all the rain going through there.
All right. Any questions of Sonia? Councillor Bossert first.
Thank you, Sonia. I have a question from a resident. There is repair work about to start on the 48th Avenue cul-de-sac in Aspen View off, sorry, I don't have the rest, off of 39th. The resident had informed me that she received less than a day's notice that she couldn't park in front of her home, and I'm wondering what the standard procedure is for informing residents of major road construction in their area.
To the best of my knowledge, that was a last minute decision to repair some work in there. It's not a major reconstruction. It is just to repair some works. I will look further into that. I did receive the email yesterday stating that residents were going to be alerted yesterday. Typically, we would give them 48 hours notice, but it may have been due to the long weekend and somebody being in the area, but I will look into it further.
Councillor Wheeler.
Mine is just a pass along. I'm not sure, they might already know, but I think the 54th Street and 48th Avenue sign is missing for the actual Avenue Street. 54th Street and 48th Avenue.
Councillor Nadeau.
Thank you, Sonia. I just wanted to, well, 1, comment on Aurora. That's awesome. And 2, I wanted to just ask, I live in Aston View, so I tend to take the Ring Road trail system and go for a walk. And I did notice we hadn't had rain for several days, and it still seemed like a waterfall coming down 43rd. And I was surprised with the amount of water that was happening there. And I'm wondering, what are the steps to mitigate those things as we move forward with that area?
I need to look into that some more, but I'm not certain that that pond is completed there either, down by Murrah, so I'll have to look into that further.
Anything further? All right. Thank you very much. Community Services and FCSS. Annette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Just a few things to report on. This afternoon, of course, looking forward to meeting the Minister of Human Services, Minister Sabir, so looking forward to having him attend the Early Childhood Development Center. We've been encouraging his visit for quite some time, so really pleased to hear that he will be out to take a look at our center. Certainly budget preparation, I think, has been keeping everybody busy the last little while, and of course going through first drafts and getting that information together, so certainly that's been occupying a fair amount of our time. Tomorrow is the FCSS summer tour, and I believe some council members will be attending, and starting off with the meeting first thing in the morning at 8, and then going to the tour. Of course, it's just one of those things where it's, I think it's a lot better to have our board members actually see what happens with the funds that are contributed through the funding body. We get final reports, but it doesn't say enough about, what actually happens within the community. Likewise, even with our Parks and Play program, it is amazing that, we are still receiving calls, where is a particular park? But it is true. We need to pay more attention to how do we get that knowledge out there that we have many different parks and playgrounds within our community and where they are and the amenities that are in each of these parks. So this Parks and Play program is actually helping us sort of break open that envelope. The Communities in Bloom tour, the portion that I was with the judges on, really appreciated their feedback, their comments, their accolades, and of course their encouragement to even make further improvements. And it's, as with everything, work in progress as we continue from year to year. But certainly a lot of effort put into the Communities in Bloom by council members, by staff members, and by the community, and just want to give a kudos to everybody who was involved with the Communities in Bloom. The open space, AKA HW pickup, AKA whatever else has been out there for the name. We have launched the naming of the park in terms of an invitation to community. I believe we already have a handful of suggestions coming in, so people are quick to respond. Happy to see that. Tables and benches should be installed within the next couple of weeks. Trails have been paved within the park. We are also receiving, starting to get some input on the poetry within the park that we're planning on incorporating into some of the concrete within the park. And we'll go from there and start to add a few more elements of artistic flavor and interpretation within the park. And boy, I hope things finish off in between the rain, just trying to get things done, because every time you step out there, it starts to dry up, and then here comes another shower. But that's my report.
Any questions? Councillor Bossert?
Thank you, Annette. I had, since we've put up the Facebook page about the naming of the open space park, I've had an inquiry about what amenities are actually going into that park. And I'm actually myself not sure if there is any playground equipment going into that park, or is it more of a walking park, poetry park, fitness park. I know that there's fitness equipment, but I've had a specific inquiry about playground equipment. Wondering if a map of our new park can be put on our website so that people can have an actual look at what the broad layout of the park would look like.
Thank you. Yes, we can certainly repeat that. We've had it up before during the public consultation and just with the opening, but we can certainly put it back on the website, and as I look at Tyler, and just again put out the rendering of what's included. There was never any playground identified in the original scope because of the thematic process that was undertaken by the consultants. But certainly the outdoor fitness equipment, the skate park, so a little higher end activity more than, yeah.
Anything further? Hold on. Did you, sorry, no? Councillor Nadeau. Okay.
Thank you, and I just want to commend your leadership on that park, because you knew everybody when we took Communities in Bloom judges down, and everybody knew you. You're obviously down there and very involved in that, and it was a very good presentation to the Communities in Bloom judges, and the afternoon spent with the judges where you were with us, I think they were very impressed with you, so that's good. So just so you know, I did take my kids after touring. I know what's going on down there, obviously, and I did my little dance on the outdoor rink as my little happy dance, and it's finally here and it's real. But I took my kids down 2 days later to show them, because that's not their school, so they don't always know that area. And they were so impressed. And we did the walkabout, and it's just a beautiful park. And what that does for the residents down there, and people are excited. And this is like an older segment of the community that kind of gets forgotten a little bit in terms of recreation, because we always have parks, and there's beautiful parks in our community and playgrounds, but this is really for those older kids that are they tend to get missed, and young adults that tend to get missed. So I'm so excited that kind of fills that void or that gap that we have in our community. So I just want to commend. I think you're doing a great job down there.
Anything further? All right. Thanks very much. Economic Development, Eric Burton.
Well, good morning again. There's just one thing that I'd like to highlight today, and that is that we had a very successful finance and investment roundtable in June. And so this was a bit of a beta test of the roundtable approach that we intend to utilize in implementing this strategy. It was also an opportunity to get some initial feedback from the community on the draft economic development strategy. And so what we did was we pulled together the finance and investment community. So we walked around and introduced myself to all of the banks and all of the financial institutions in town, a lot of the lenders. I went to a lot of the accountants in town as well, to both introduce myself, but also to invite them out to a roundtable to talk about how we can support entrepreneurs through finance and investment. And we had a very good turnout. We had just about every branch manager in town came out. We had some entrepreneurs. We had Drayton Valley Community Foundation. We had the Clean Energy Technology Center, as well as Futurepreneur. And what we did was we presented the draft strategy to get some initial feedback, a lot of excitement from the finance community. They could really see how it connects with their clients, and in this case, businesses, their business clients. And then we had a series of lightning roundtables. So what this is one go around in order where everyone has a chance to kind of share their perspective or make a comment of any nature. And the focus is not to create a debate about issues, but to get everyone's different perspective on things. So the first one was around the opportunities to support entrepreneurs. And so everyone had a chance to share their perspective on what the opportunity is to support entrepreneurs, with a particular focus around finance and investment. And it was really interesting to hear a lot of the banks' kind of managers start to think a little bit about, okay, well, is there anything deeper in our organization that we're not kind of bringing to the forefront? And so the other question that we asked was, what are the challenges facing entrepreneurs from a finance and investment perspective? And again, we had everyone kind of thinking for themselves. So the goal here is not so much to say, give me a laundry list of things that you think I should do. The goal is for everybody to come to the round table as equals, give insight to one another, and then walk away with something of value. So then the third piece was asking, well, what actions are you going to take personally, professionally, or organizationally as a result of this conversation? And again, it was really exciting to hear different key stakeholders in the community talk not so much about what someone else should do, but what they're going to do. And coming out of that, I want to highlight what I would say are the key pieces that are going to that we can support. So in this case, not be the lead on, but support the people that were at that table and saying what they were going to do. So one was around training. There was highlight that a lot of businesses were not ready for the downturn. They did not. And so one of the lines I liked was the need for weathering the storm training modules. And in this case, it's the bank saying we should maybe be doing this for our clients. Well, before long, they start to say, oh, wait a second, maybe there's a partner in the room, like the Clean Energy Technology Center, that could help facilitate that level of training. So rather than us doing individually, all banks working individually, they could maybe partner. And so you start to see the sparks of innovation and collaboration on how together they can achieve some real capacity building and support entrepreneurs by addressing their own challenges. The second was the opportunity to further explore a community investment fund. I think this is a really important opportunity, but I was even more excited about it when I heard a local branch manager speak to his peers saying he's going to lead a discussion around the development of a community investment fund. I think this could be transformative for the community, but most importantly, it's now being led by the community. Also, there was an express interest of the financial community to be part of sector roundtables, which we have planned in the future. So rather than just getting people together around retail, yes, let's get people together around retail, but let's bring the financial community into those conversations so that the financial community hears where retailers are coming from, the challenges and opportunities they see, and vice versa, that the financial community gets a better insight into the unique challenges facing the retail sector as an example. And finally, and I think most importantly, is that there was an express interest to have another roundtable. And this time, there was an interest in one of the participants to help to move that forward. And in my view, that's the cream of the crop here. It's that if we can get the financial community to begin build capacity and organize its own networking sessions, then that's going to be long-lasting and not done on taxpayers' dollars, but done because the community sees the opportunity to improve the community by working together. So those are some of the outcomes that I want to share from that Finance and Investment Roundtable. And as I said, it's a bit of a beta test for the method that we intend to employ we're connecting with local real estate stakeholders as well as different key sectors that have been identified in the strategy.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions of Eric? Okay. You exhausted them all earlier. Thanks very much. 8.4, Emergency Services. Tom Thompson.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Council. If I can refer Council to page 9091, the June statistics. For June, we had a total of 29 incidents. One of them was a structure fire, which involved a total loss of the house. We believe that it was the cause of a lightning strike that struck the home and burnt the house down. We also had 4 small grass fires during the month of June, 4 motor vehicle collisions, 2 of which were single vehicle rollovers. One was a 2-vehicle collision, and one was a quad accident. Fortunately, all of them had minor injuries in all the incidents. In regards to alarm calls, they were up. A lot of it is due to the thunder and lightning storms that we have, which wreak havoc with the electrical systems, which consequently cause a lot of alarms. We had 2 school alarms, 7 business alarms, 4 residential alarms, and 1 at a senior living complex. So those were the total for the month of June. In terms of assist another agency, we responded to 5 assists. 1 was an EMS assist to assist with a patient that was having a seizure. We also had 2 lift and assists. One of the increases that we've seen over the past year is we've been getting a lot of calls to the hospital to help lift patients at the hospital, which is something that is we've done in the past, but we're starting to see that more and more. I'm not sure if it's because of a shortage of staff there or what, but we're starting to do that more and more. We also had 2 other assists with EMS in which the fire service was first on scene and had to perform first aid to those individuals until EMS arrived on scene, which brought us to a total of 5 assisting another agency. The last area was miscellaneous calls. We responded to 1 which involved a water main break at a residence, which the senior couple living in the home needed assistance dealing with the situation, so we assisted them in that situation. And that brought us to a total of 29 calls for the month of June. In regards to other things with the fire service, we've been busy with camps. We held our first camp in July out in Breton. We had a very successful camp, and everybody was happy when they left, so we did our job. Currently, right now, this week, we are doing a youth camp. We have 10 individuals that are registered for our youth camp. It's a youth adventure camp, so they are going to be exposed to some exciting, adventurous type of activities in around the fire service. So it should be a fun week for those individuals. Then at the end of August, we will be working on the kids camp here in Drayton Valley. So that will be another exciting time for kids. One other thing the staff has been working on is getting ready for the Tour of Alberta event. We are getting our planning in place and prepped with our staff for that, so that we will be ready to go when that event hits. Any questions?
Any questions, Council? Councillor Bossert.
Thanks, Tom, for your report. I am alarmed to hear that fire services are being called to the hospital to assist in lifts with patients. What are the nature of these calls that you're called in as opposed to staff dealing with the situations? Is it bariatric people that they just need extra manpower with?
Most times that's what the call is, involving those types of patients. We also have patients that are that cannot be lifted by two individuals, require several people to lift and carry, so that is also another call that we respond to. Usually it's EMS that helps. Sometimes it's fire, EMS, and the hospital staff that help with those types of situations, so it involves everybody.
Anything further? All right, thanks very much. Under administration, we have communications and marketing. Tyler Russell.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Hope you guys are all well today. Here's my report. We're currently working on our brand, continuing to promote it out and about, newspaper. Also, we're using radio as well to be able to make sure that everybody knows about that. We are having pictures. I'm sure you've all seen them in the newspaper with the different taglines, whether it's hard work, community, discovery, technology, innovation. These will continue to run until mid-September. Also, of course, we also are changing over a bunch of the different town documents that are here, whether it's with the crest or whether it's with the logo or whether it's with both. Letterheads, business cards being developed, also new flags, and the front sign at the front of the Civic Center there is also looking to be changed over as well. Also, we have the My Drayton Valley. We've had a lot of outstanding images on Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, come and see me. I will set you up on Instagram. The hashtag My Drayton Valley has got some just phenomenal photos, and not just summer photos. They also have winter photos as well, which is really neat to see even at this time of the year. So people are digging back on their social media to go and find pictures. It's going to be an outstanding collage we'll have. It does wrap up on August the 26th. Also, we do have, of course, our automated traffic enforcement mailer that did go out last month. We are currently working on, and we'll have out the second half of that, as it does deal with the Safe and Healthy Community Allocation Fund. We'll have that information will be going out in the utility bills moving forward. We also are having fun with the Tour of Alberta. It has been a great opportunity for our community. Of course, we're letting everybody know about what's happening in our community. We've also been going outside of the community as well to be able to let people know if they choose to volunteer, which we're encouraging anyone and everyone to get out there and volunteer. tourofalberta.ca/volunteers in case anybody wants to know what that is. There's also a dedicated section on our website that has been created to be able to see even a video of the Tour of Alberta, so that the expectation of what people can see when the tour actually comes through town will be there. We also have a dedicated Facebook page that we are managing and making sure that there is current content as soon as possible, well over 100 likes, which I like to be able to go and see. The more the merrier. And we have current information, of course, daily information at multiple times during the day to be able to let people know and keep them aware about about that. Also, of course, we do have information that is going to be pumped out in different media sources like newspaper and also on radio. In regards to the Tour of Alberta, also, we have an insert in Post Media, which is the Sun, about 100,000 copies that are going to be going out and about to be able to let people know about what the route is, what the events are. I'm really excited about all the different events that we have going on. We're letting as many people know about what's going on as much as we can. Also, from July the 16th to the 18th, we also had a video shoot. If you guys saw a drone flying around town, yes, that was not somebody coming here to try to, spy on us. It was actually for commercials to be able to promote community tourism and, of course, innovation in our community. We'll be running those throughout the actual Tour of Alberta broadcast that will be happening on September the 3rd. Also, on our website and on social media, we also do have, of course, visual parts of our website that we are currently updating and making sure that we can get them as current as possible. It is a large website, so I do appreciate everyone's patience to be able to make sure that that gets updated in a timely manner. And if you see anything, please do not hesitate to send it to me so that we can get that updated and get that as current as possible. Some things we can change. Some things I have to send to the web developer, which takes a few days because they need to be able to get that done. Also, we do have surveys out to the public. Of course, you did hear our planning and development manager also mention about that. That does wrap up on Friday. Also, we do have Name Our New Park. I've seen some of the responses. We'll keep that under wraps until we actually get to the end there, but there's some really, really great responses. You can do that on our website, which does actually have a dedicated page available. You can also do that through SurveyMonkey as well. So that is my report.
Any questions, comments? All right, thank you. CAO report, Mr. Diven.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. A number of things from my report were touched on in earlier reports, so I won't repeat them. I might just add to the comments that were made about budget planning exercises. For 2017, the staff administration is also involved in Budget 2016, budget reviews and aspects along those lines, given that we continue to monitor budget and in-year activities. Council is aware that our revenue projections and aspects for the current year are falling short of what we had based on historical and past aspects. And in order to be prudent, we are looking at what that means and what that might mean in the way of corresponding action, and we will be bringing forward this to Council for their review and comment very shortly. Wanted to make mention that the second mediation session with county officials, as per our Section 690 application for in front of the MGB, occurred on July 21st. Continued forward progress continues to be made, and we have a further mediation session set for August the 15th. As by way of update from a previous discussion on the community standards bylaw, as per the discussions that we had, we have more diligent review and enforcement action that is occurring. We put on the website information for citizens about the community standards bylaw, about what the content of that is, along with FAQs. And we have been made aware of situations and circumstances in the community that are not compliant with the community standards bylaw. And as such, action is underway, has and continues to be, for elements and aspects and situations that require being addressed. Those are not always immediately to a ticketing aspect. The bylaw officer does exercise discretion in terms of working with affected property owners about the situation and looking for redress. And where circumstances call for it, we move to a remedy and ticketing for corrective action. And we have seen corrective action starting to be undertaken in some circumstances. The bylaw officer has been on annual leave last week and this week, and so we're in a bit of a lull, but upon her return, we will be continuing to respond to these aspects and ensure that situations that are not compliant are addressed appropriately. I think in the same theme, the last thing I'd like to mention is that with this season, and of course this is my first summer in Drayton Valley, witnessing the fact that with the building season and another season, there is a lot of activity going on. And when there are activity, there is also actions and elements along those lines that are being undertaken. And that often results in questions, concerns, queries, the like from residents, both residential and business owners. On the positive side, things are happening. On the negative side, it's not always apparent that with things occurring that we have necessarily been as diligent as we should have been canvassing all options or canvassing all perspectives. And I like to look at this as a learning opportunity in terms of bringing balance, and certainly we must respond to issues and concerns, whether they be nuisance concerns, public safety concerns, general property improvement or other aspects along those lines. But I think that in the vein of customer service, there is always room for improvement, and certainly I've had discussions with some staff in terms of we need to be responsive to public inquiries and public concerns, but we also must be thorough and comprehensive and ensure that the variety of perspectives that may be brought to bear on some of these aspects, whether it's an enforcement action, whether it's a corrective action or a change action that's being requested, is indeed being reviewed thoroughly and comprehensively before officials act as well. We have acted on a number of these aspects in the past number of weeks, and I want to ensure going forward that when action is undertaken, it is done from a thorough and comprehensive review perspective, and then at the end of the day that any necessary changes or aspects are indeed with the larger community in mind and certainly compliant with all rules, regulations, and bylaws that we must put forward. And so I just want council to be aware of that. I know that I've had a number of referrals and different aspects from different councillors and from the mayor on public inquiries and public concerns. We certainly are attempting to address those as quickly as we can and review those, but also from myself as well, taking the time to ensure that citizens and affected property owners understand what the basis and what the logic and what the perspective that's been brought to bear for these actions and decisions are. And I fully concede we don't always get it right. We do have a certain perspective and we can always learn, but we need to be diligent and ensure that we're contemplating all perspectives when undertaking the actions and the decisions that we have to bring to bear. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll conclude my report unless there are any questions.
Any questions? All right. Thank you very much. It's never a dull moment, I think, is what you were trying to say, right? Council reports, Councillor Wheeler, 9.1.
Thank you. July had lots of activities going on, like Canada Day. I want to say thanks to the committee. It's led by the town, but there's a lot of people that sit on that committee that volunteer from all over the community, different organizations, and they always do a really great job putting everything together. So thank you. We had Parks Day, which went over well, as we saw this morning. There was lots of fun and lots of people. There was also Communities in Bloom tour, which happened, which was lots of fun. We went to the seniors barbecue, and it was nice to see people from the community out with the seniors too. I think it's important to make sure our generations get a chance to see and to learn from each other. So, and then we've been busy with our sustainability committee, has been reviewing our sustainability plan and going through and seeing where we're at and what areas we need to focus on. So July is already come and gone, but it was a good month.
All right. Thank you. Councillor Bossert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Brief report. I found myself with a bit of time on my hands throughout July and August, which is sometimes kind of nice. On July 11th, I was able to speak at our regional hospital to CARNA, the College and Institute for Nursing in Alberta. They celebrated their 100th anniversary of nursing in our province with a wonderful display and just a very insightful history of nursing and its progression through our province and in our community. So I was honored to be at that gathering. On July 27th, we saw the Communities in Bloom judges come to our community, and we were able to have lunch with the ladies, and my luncheon companion was one of the judges and was just delighted to spend time visiting with her and learning about her history as a judge for Communities in Bloom on the national level. And my bouquet to all that were involved with the Communities in Bloom initiative for for this year as we were judged at the national level. Tomorrow, we're looking forward to the FCSS tour. I haven't been on this tour for a few years, but I do look forward to going because we get to put faces to the names of people and projects and programs that we support as a council or as a town. And that often means children. It's easy to grant out money to different organizations, but on this tour we get to see how those grants impact the lives of people in our communities, particularly children. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's my report.
Thank you. Councillor Frederickson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I have nothing to report.
Okay, that's concise. Thank you. Councillor Neto.
Thank you, Mayor. Through economic development, I think we've all seen the results of our last meeting. So just a thank you again to Eric for all his hard work. It's been a pleasure working on this committee and seeing the strategy finally come to fruition. So that's wonderful. Also had the Communities in Bloom helped tour the judges that day. There's some really positive feedback. Very impressed with certain aspects of our community and especially the people they commented, which is so nice. And I think that's our greatest asset in our community is some of the people. And so it was wonderful. Certainly some made an impression. They really enjoyed their barbecue or the block party at Shangri-La Lodge, and to see that, the music and the people, and felt Jeanette Batter was amazing. And of course, we already knew that. So, but it was a great day, and we'll see how that all falls out in October, I believe, is the National Judging Day, and that's my report.
Thank you very much. Councillor Long.
Thank you. I will also be quite brief. On the 15th, we had a Clean Energy Technology Centre meeting, which we enjoyed so much. We had another one on the 22nd. Both of those, or much of the time, there was largely spent going over the documents that came out of the, earlier in the month, we had the session looking at the governance, etc., with various folks out from the province, so we're sort of talking about the results that came out of that. And the only other things I've done in the last couple of weeks was the Economic Development Committee, as Councillor Nadeau says, and I also attended the seniors barbecue after last week's governance meeting, which I enjoyed greatly, and they did an excellent job arranging the weather too, which was nice.
All right. Thank you very much. Councillor Schuler.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll be very brief as well. As Graham indicated, on the 15th and 22nd, Clean Energy and Technology Center, I think he's covered that quite well. There's no need to prolong anything else there. Also on the 15th and 22nd, at the Sustainability Committee, and just a review of our document. So that is underway. Also on the 27th, the Communities in Bloom attended the luncheon, as well as the block party hosted by the Brazeau Seniors Foundation. I was very impressed with both, and I'm hoping that we'll come out with a decent score. The judges seem to be impressed with what our community has to offer, so we'll see what happens. And in regards to them liking Jeanette Batter, they also indicated we should put her forward for a award that they are bringing up. So just something to keep in mind that we may want to look at. There might be others in the community that we may want to put forward as well for that. And that is my report.
All right. Thank you very much. My schedule in the last few weeks has been heavy on meetings, light on events, and just in terms of two things within the past week or so. On the 26th of July, I attended a meeting at the request of the Labour Minister to discuss training requirements in in the clean energy space and biotechnology space, and that also involved a tour of Mr. Madlung's facility, BCG. The minister was impressed with the work done at BCG and also pleased with what she saw in the CETC and the effort to provide ongoing instruction for our community and for other communities. The 27th, the Communities in Bloom Judging Day, I trust went well. I wasn't, we were all, or most of us were in a governance priorities meeting most of the day, but had the opportunity to present on the CETC at noon hour, and I didn't see anyone fall asleep, so I guess that was success. Finally, I want to just reiterate what was mentioned earlier, and that is the request for submissions to name the public space in, I'll say, across the road from Evergreen School. Yeah, encourage people to fill out their, I think it's quick. I've seen it. It's quick and efficient. What's the name that you propose and why? With that, I encourage people to do it. And that is my report. Item 10.0 is the information items. Sustainability Committee meeting notes from June 2016. The Economic Development Committee meeting notes from June 2016. The Drayton Valley Brazeau County Fire Services June 2016 stats. And the Brazeau Seniors Foundation minutes from May 2016. Could I get a motion to receive those items as information, please? Councillor Frederickson, all in favor? That is carried. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please? Councillor Long, all in favor? We're adjourned.